On tribal programs under the jurisdiction of the Interior Environment Appropriations Subcommittee. This year, in hopes of having a more in-depth focus on issues facing Indian country, we have organized witnesses according to the following topics: healthcare, land trust and natural resource management, including climate change, public safety and justice, education, tribal governments, and human services. Yesterday, we heard from witnesses about the urgent healthcare needs and the important needs of issues impacting land, trust, and natural resources, and as I said, including climate change. This morning, we're going to finish the remaining panels on resources before moving to panels on public safety and justice. We will conclude this morning's hearings with witnesses on education issues. I welcome the distinguished leaders and non-elected tribal members, all whom play an important role in educating others on Native American issues, especially the Congress. The issues we'll hear about this morning are part of treaty and trust obligations that the United States owes to Native Americans. When it comes to public safety and justice, Indian tribes are facing challenges that many other governments do. But they also face challenges that many other government units do not. Rural, isolated areas with barely passable roads, insufficient staffing, communications equipment that's often not compatible with other law enforcement agencies. And on top of that, tribes are still operating out of buildings that have been or are about to be condemned. The situation is disheartening when it comes to education, and I say that as a teacher. It's not uncommon for students at BIE schools to have classrooms with leaking pipes, asbestos, and improper wiring. Inadequate pay and housing affects teacher recruitment and retention, and roads are so bad that they cause delays and multi-hour bus rides. Mr. Simpson will probably join us sometime today, but when we were on one of our Codels, we were on a bus. It was so bumpy. He had a Fitbit, I had a Jawbone. We both had 500 steps at the end of the bus ride. So we've been on the roads firsthand. We need to do more to face all these challenges so that Native American youth can receive a quality education in a safe, supportive school. Tribal colleges are also facing unique challenges with their spread out campuses and insufficient funding, and we'll hear more on that later today. Tribal colleges also educate non-natives, and many receive no local or state assistance to help cover that additional cost. Despite numerous obstacles facing tribal colleges, they have done an outstanding job at educating Native and non-Native students with the resources they have. So I'm eager to learn more about your priorities. I look forward to our discussions on these issues because your testimony is going to inform us as we begin to develop our 2020 appropriations and have discussions with the agencies that work for you. Now, before I turn to Mr. Joyce, I'd like to cover a few little hearing logistics. As I mentioned informally, there will be members coming in and out because of other meetings that they will be attending. All of them have received your testimony. All of them have been looking at the testimony. So when we're ready, we're going to call panel witnesses to the table, one panel at a time. Each individual will have 5 minutes to present their testimony. I know it's a limited amount of time. We have your full testimony. In fact, we have your testimony covering other issues than the one you're speaking to today. We're going to use a timer to keep track of the time so we're fair to everyone involved. When the light turns yellow, you're going to have 1 minute remaining, and we'd ask you to think about how to best conclude your remarks. When the light blinks red, I will lightly tap on the gavel. I want to be very respectful, but I will ask each witness to conclude their remarks so the next witness can begin and we can have everyone moving forward in the time that they were allotted, as I know you have meetings outside of here with other members of Congress. Each witness's full written statement is going to be introduced into the record, so if you have any additional information you would like to give us, please give it to Janet and I, and Mr. Joyce and I will include it together in the official record. So don't worry. Everything will get covered. Everything will be read. Everything will be shared. So we're also going to have members be able to ask questions. That might be an opportunity. If there's something you really didn't get to in the 5 minutes of the Q&A, you can add it there too. In this hearing room, I'd like to remind people that the committee rules prohibit uses of cameras and audio equipment during the hearing by individuals without a press credential or staff ID. After this morning's hearing concludes, we will adjourn, and we will reconvene at 1 o'clock for the afternoon hearing. Now, I am very happy to yield to my friend Mr. Joyce for his remarks because when it comes to Indian issues, this is not just nonpartisan, it is bipartisan. Mr. Joyce?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for continuing these important hearings to get input from tribal leaders on a wide array of programs under this subcommittee's jurisdiction. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all the tribal elders and leaders that are here today, testifying today or in the audience. I'm humbled to be sitting here before you today in my capacity as ranking member of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies. I know that most of you have traveled a long way to be here, and for those of you who don't know, I'm from the northeast corner of what is now Ohio, but was once the land of Seneca and others. Like many of my colleagues in Congress, I recognize that upholding the tribal trust obligation is a responsibility shared by all members of Congress, regardless of their congressional district. I also recognize that the federal government still has a long way to go before it can say it is fully meeting its trust and treaty obligations. That's why my position on the Appropriations Committee is a great honor, but also a heavy responsibility. Fortunately, I have a great friend and partner in Chairwoman McCollum. It's my sincere hope that together we will continue the hard work of our predecessors for more than a decade to increase the federal commitment to meeting trust and treaty obligations. So I look forward to listening and learning from the testimony today and working with my chair and the rest of my colleagues in the days ahead to do what we can to help you in the next fiscal year. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Kilmer. And then after you're done, I'm going to ask you're leaving. I was going to ask you to introduce the first panel after you're done with your remarks because you're here now. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any lengthy remarks. I just want to thank everybody for coming, and the testimony we've heard over the last several days has been, I think, really valuable. So let me, at your encouragement, invite up Tyson Johnston from the Quinault Indian Nation. He may win the Long Distance Travel Award. Joseph Wildcat Sr. and Vernon Stearns. Welcome.